He reminds me of the kid Morales. Like these young kids, these younger guys. How old's Paddy?
I think he's 29.
Oh yeah, so in his 20s. Like the younger
30.
guys in their 20s or that, their muscles, like they replenish like crazy after weigh-ins. Like they're 40 pounds heavier, 35 pounds heavier. It's kind of wild to see. So like Paddy's a big 55er.
Yeah, I think he's one of the bigger lightweights, to be completely honest with you. And I think the fact that he does kind of get big in between fights, but then quickly starts to dial it back and really get on the diet and be focused, actually helps you build muscle over the years, right? If you're still lifting while you're in a huge calorie, surplus and building muscle, then you strip that all down and lose all the body fat. Each time that you do that, you're it's like bodybuilders doing a bulking session where they're eating a massive amount of calories, focusing on just getting big, and then they strip down and they cut the weight. He looks big and strong. When he looked massive when he fought Michael Chandler in there.
People don't understand the whole graft what goes into this. People think you just turn up and fight. I've been eating fucking 2,000 calories a day, lad, for 6 weeks, lad, and burning like fucking 4,000. I've had to sit there and watch everyone else eat fucking cheesecake on Christmas Day, lad, while I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs. So I can't wait to get fat.
One thing that we question on Paddy, when they call him Fatty the Batty because his weight was going up and down, that appeared to be a lack of discipline, and usually it is, but not every time. There's certain guys. I had a teammate in college named Doug Lee. He could gain weight and he could lose it. You'll know a fighter named Mark Munoz. Mark could gain weight and he could lose it, but the losing the weight was a byproduct of getting into really good shape. So I just share, like, I don't know where Paddy's holes are. I haven't seen a weakness. In fact, I've seen growth. His wrestling, or the ground and pound that he put on Michael Chandler, like, that dude is getting better.
This dude is a scrappy human being, man. And he scrambles and everything. He's only got better. And not just that, people got to keep in mind, he is a big 55er, bro. He looks like a fucking welterweight in there. Like, he legit looks like a welterweight.
That said, someone needs to give a massive shout out to, lad, Paul Reed. He's me S&C coach and my nutritionist. Okay. He's the reason that my body looks the way it does. He's the reason why I make weight so easy every single time. Like, I never lifted a weight up until 2020, 2021. I used to just do circuits. And I started doing weights with him in 2020, 2021, and now my body is completely different. I look like a different animal, and it's thanks to him. And that's why I'm such a big lightweight. You know what I mean? Like, without him, I wouldn't be where I am. And then obviously my coaches, my teammates, my fucking family. You know what I mean? Like,
the problem is, Chael, you know why we all keep doubting him? Because our prospects. So, Conor McGregor comes to mind. He looked like a complete project, right? You know when you can watch a project and the project looks like it's on the way to being finished, but it's not finished. It looks odd until it gets to that point where you're like, okay, this guy's done. Israel Adesanya. While we didn't see him look great defending wrestling, it still looked pretty familiar. Paddy Pimblett doesn't look like that because there are times he goes backwards and punches. His chin still comes up a little bit. He seems a bit clunky at times in his striking because he's not a striker. So when he throws the jab or he throws the right hand, he gets it to the target, but it doesn't look as straight. It doesn't look like he's turning it over like some of these guys do. And he's not a wrestler, so he doesn't loop it. So it just looks different. It looks like he's supposed to still be a process in work, when in reality, what he has today, even if it's still in work, is about as good as anything in the division. He must be extremely strong, and he's big. He's so big. I cannot believe how big he looked out there with Michael Chandler, because we know Michael Chandler is a big guy at 155 pounds. He's good, man. He's good. He's much better than we want to give him credit for.
So, like, this has been about nutrition. It's been about taking on the right amount of carbs, and you know what I'm talking about, being able to recover from the training sessions, as opposed to being in a nutrient deficiency where you're losing muscle and then you're getting weaker. So I think athletically, we're going to see the best version of Paddy. I think that makes it even harder for Justin.
At this point, I think Paddy has done a pretty good job of quieting a lot of the critics, myself included. I think after the Jared Gordon fight, I think people believed maybe we'd seen the ceiling for Paddy, and that's about as good as he was going to be. He was going to be in some fun fights. They were going to be promoted, well, and they were going to feel like big fights, but maybe he wasn't going to be the championship type of fighter, and he's really turned a lot of that around. Again, there's still going to be critics that are saying, well, Bobby Green's not in his prime. Michael Chandler is not in his prime. Tony Ferguson definitely wasn't in his prime. So he is, fighting some aging veterans and legends. But he is doing to those people what he should be doing if he's as good as he says he is. So I'm not going to use too much of that against him.
I don't know. I just feel like the size and the momentum of Paddy right now. I think this is a really, really interesting fight. The only real danger for Paddy, in my opinion, is if he gets kind of backed up against the fence. A fascinating fight. I love the trajectory that Paddy's got, the impact that he's had, and I think his brand arrived at the right time in the UFC, and I think that he's capitalized on it very well. His team around him have done a great job of keep moving him forward as well. So the best version of Gaethje can definitely beat Paddy, but I don't think we've seen the best version of Paddy yet, and that makes me excited to see what he's going to do against Gaethje.
Mate, Paddy's outstanding.
Yeah.
I've been on his bandwagon since he came back.
Yep.
From he never left, but you know what I'm talking about.
He had that dip,
fall from grace.
Yeah.
Right. Since then, since he switched on and he started just putting a beating on people, he stopped mucking around as much. I just love seeing what he's doing, and you can see that the harder the competition, the more you're getting out of Paddy.
I look at this version of Paddy as far as he is keeping his weight down a little bit. He's not ballooning up quite as he did. Look, he's been winning. People can sit there and say what he wants. The guy keeps winning.
Big believer in Paddy, and I still think his upside is somewhat limited, but I have been wrong about him. He's been, in certain ways, much better than I thought he would be. I always thought he had good back takes and good back control, and that's gotten even better. He's 1,000,000,000% built that out. But you know what? He's built out some other portions of his game. He's built out his physique too. He looks like he's chiseled out of stone when it's it's the time to fight. He really is a gigantic lightweight.
I'll still be training every day like I always do. Even when I get fat, I train every day. You know what I mean? That's why I get so much better in these little times off what I have. That's why I've looked so much better since the Bobby Green fight, so much better since the Tony Ferguson fight, because I'm never out the gym. You know what I mean? Whether I put a couple of pounds on, I'm still never out the gym. People underestimate me for that reason. They think, we get fat so he doesn't train. No, I just eat loads of food and still train. You know what I mean?
Not everybody is born with charisma, and Paddy Pimblett has it, man, and that just adds to his intrigue as a fighter. People want to see him fight, man. Some people may want to see him lose, but it doesn't matter. They want to see him fight.
I think Paddy's proven that he can survive deep waters, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Paddy's tough, man. He's tough. He's gritty. And I think he's one of those guys where, it doesn't just take one punch to put Paddy out. The guys that he fights, I'm sure that internally they're like, I'm just going to put this guy out with one punch because they want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they want to, because how whatever he says and, just his personality, whatever. But he's shown me that he's not the type of guy that you just go in there and put out with one punch. Put him against Bobby Green, whoever, it's just not going to happen. He's going to be in there, he's going to last. He's gonna do something, and then he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
and then he's surprised, you know what I mean? And then surprises the world, and then people are like, "Damn, why have I been sleeping on this guy?" So I think it takes more than one punch to put out Paddy for sure.
Paddy Pimblett has less miles on him, less injured. He's been through the ringer less. He's less experienced, maybe, but man, does that guy find a way to win. Paddy Pimblett, he's a winner, guys. He doesn't have the best mechanics. He has incredible athleticism. But his number one asset, he really wants to win. He's gonna die in there. Now, we could look at Justin Gaethje and say the same thing. That guy's been in war after war, never gives up. But those wars have accumulated on him. I think Paddy Pimblett has that same kind of drive and will that Justin Gaethje has. He's just a young Justin Gaethje. A young Justin Gaethje with a lot less injuries and a lot less concussions and a lot less miles on him.
He's unique, man, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. So but if you want to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to. So he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket, and he's gonna throw everything he got in that pocket. If you don't meet him, you'll get chewed up. So Paddy, the way to beat a guy who like does this very violent, aggressive pressure fighter, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave, and you got to go. You have to go when he goes in between his shots.
But I ask you this, man. Like, I've been watching some footage of Paddy, who looks great, by the way. Like, physically. Like, if you've been watching like some of the clips of him, just like his physique, and just he looks in shape, and he looks fit, and he looks confident, and he looks ready to go. Can he beat Gaethje?